Here's something you should be really concerned with is moving on to new topics. There's questions and events from the 1980s I have. There's questions I have and things I want to do. We just move on. There's no me in the word we. If you've ever uh, been to second grade English class, there is no me in the word we. So when someone's using the word we, they are not including you. When someone's talking over you and ignoring what you're saying, they are not including you, they are using you. When someone out here comes up to threaten to torture me if I don't give them all my money and worship their race as gods, and I start to ask him a question about, well, what about the other races? Don't they have a right to exist or something like that? Or do you think you're ultra supreme, so smart, you're the only person who's ever, or why do you talk about invisible bunnies and all that? It makes you sound stupid and the rest of your stuff sounds stupid, or any of the million questions. When are you going to move back to Middle Earth? You say you're here leeching off of us and enslaving us because you're going to go home one day, but you're not going to go home because you own everything on the fucking planet and you're going to be a scared bitch and get thrown off a fucking building if you go back to that place and shit, because they sound like men who know how to deal with the problem. And, people just move on. Turn on the media today. Ooh, what are they talking about? Ooh, what did they do today? Well, what they're doing today, what they're actually doing is they're ignoring the questions you had yesterday. And what they were doing yesterday was ignoring the questions you had the day before. And we're here in the year 2026 where people have been asking real basic questions since at least the 1980s. Maybe I'm the only person to ever ask a question. But I know for a fact it's been since the 80s that I have asked some basic questions. And what happens is I'm trash. You see, there's this 500-pound walrus, all the way. I've never met these people in suits who think I'm trash. The only time I meet those Jeffrey Epstein people, they handed me a wad of cash for doing work for them. So it's like, you know, but that's the evil on the planet, right? I've never even got to question those people and the shit. I've just been like, hey, nice house. You got a goddamn literal jungle and a waterfall inside your house. It's crazy. Fucking, that's the most I've ever had conversation with one of those people. Um, or are you coming back fucking Monday? Like this job's done, but we got another job for you Monday and shit. That's about the only two suit conversations I remember having and shit. Very distinct because, rarely do you actually meet the person in control of the shit. The CEO in charge of the 18 corporations and shit, something like that. But, okay, so, I got all these questions. Like I said, just the other day, some homeless looking person comes up to me and he's talking to me for 30 minutes, and I try to ask one question. He said, God, torture, my race is the supreme, kill the Arabs, all that shit. Give me some children to rape, and I'm interjecting with like the softest nothing, because there's no point in talking to these people at all. This is exactly what happens. I say the word and then they just move on with the conversation. We're 15 minutes and then this loudmouth fat ass running his fucking lips and shit, and trying to buy me off to come fucking spread propaganda to me and shit. And I already know every word he's going to say. His people have already interfered with my life since my birth, 24 fucking 7. It's in their music, it's in their movies, it's on the TV every day, all day long. One out of every 3 songs is about what he said. So it's like, okay, dude, I passed kindergarten with honors, in every grade with honors. You gotta be. If you can say the words, I already know, you gotta be at the best. Be for, that's the best you could ever possibly fucking do. If you can say the words, I know the words front and back, can write them in reverse, can write them upside down. Any sort of word, pretty much, and shit. So it's like, it's like, it's belittling my intelligence. I don't go on the street and force people to learn reading and writing and math. I'm not like, well, the predicate and adjective, you need that because you sound like a dumbass. You need to start saying some better words, kid. You fucking retarded sounding. You gotta learn your first grade English. I don't do that because, why? I'm not a parasite. I'm not a rapist. I'm not an invader. I'm not forcing anyone to do anything and shit. But people on stolen land, invading the whole fucking world, that's the literal definition of an invader now, isn't it? But it's in so many ways. Is it? I mean, it's ran at the top by the judicial system. So, of course, Hollywood is the president of the United States and shit. The real president, where Donald Trump comes from, is just a minion of Hollywood, ain't he? And Ronald Reagan, he was just an actor in Hollywood. And so where does all the real propaganda come from? It comes from there. I hear more. I don't even listen to the news because it's stupid, pointless. They're talking about some shit that happened today. And I got questions from every day since 1986 that they just talk right the fuck over when I ask them. And I know the answer to most of them. That's why they're talking right the fuck over them, because they feel guilty and ashamed. And they feel trapped and cornered when the right questions are brought up and shit. That's why we're ignoring questions from 1986, because we got a lot of bitches out here who could be smited and smacked down real fucking easy, but they're running the mouth with this but, what, who, Ghost Casper, my people, school, government, Trump. And it just, bro, Trump just became president. Shut the fuck up. There's shit that needs dealt with every day, every hour before Trump became president. These are trash networking together to move on past you. They are devaluing you to their fucking slave. They are trying. You want to see the fucking test scores, and you want to see how many of these people have earned the right to speak in public? Yet alone they're doing it. The people in the media, you think those people earned? They achieved? What did they do? They failed fucking kindergarten and shit. What does that make them an expert on? On being a failure. That's the only thing they could educate you on. They're not talking about that because they're trying not to fail by manipulating and talking over. That's what they're doing. They're not. They know they're failures. They're trying to capitalize on that. They're trying to spread failureism and shit. You got a lot of questions. A lot of questions. Millions of questions, aren't there? There's, where does the giant bunny live? When do we get to meet him? There's, when are these wars? When are we going to move back home now that we've stolen the land that we've been stealing for 6,000 years? When are we going to give our houses away and all our buildings and our Hollywood and our government buildings and move back home now that we've got home back? But there's much more. There's really nothing more important than colonizers enslaving you, is there? Racial supremacists fucking forcing you to date them and be around them and to hear their kindergarten failing nonsense repeatedly and shit. There's really nothing worse than that. But there is them covering up corporations, robbing people with scams. You know, Windows and Dell and almost everywhere, right? Can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but it's like pretty much everything, right? Motorola, fucking scam corporations selling junk, as their people do, and they're protecting it. And they're moving on past that. They aren't even discussing it most of the time. But they don't give a shit about you. You're supposed to listen to them and go kill and steal land and money for them and their family. Under the guise that they're gonna move home after 92 million years of destroying the whole planet and raping and enslaving everyone. Fucking you are trash. Everything if you're not repeating something on TV, why don't you try this shit out? Stop watching the TV. Stop listening to them on the YouTube. Stop. You got to turn off some of that music. I've been listening to lyricless music for a while because I know that. Like, I started hearing lyrics and it's like, wow, this is like talking to this trash that I'm putting the headphones on to avoid. What the fuck? What the fuck is this shit? Oh, but it's like, this is what their people do. Apparently, people are so sick, they're having children to rape them and enslave them. Their own children. That's how much they care about you, is they're literally raping and enslaving themselves because it's the easiest and fastest way to get a buck, but they know someone else got a buck in their pocket they ain't got yet. Fucking, this seems to be a huge thing going on this planet here. Might be the only reason anyone ever had a legit reason to have kids. I heard someone say they was going to give a kid a life they never had. One person told me that. Fucking, and I'm not sure that turned out that way, because from the outside it looks like they might be a part of this shit. They might not be, because they weren't when I was little, but you know, things change and shit after 12 years old. So I do, and I could tell, like, he was like less emotional, so he didn't give a shit so much about other people. If he ever did, he definitely, it was a less feeling. I can sense these things and shit, people's dialogue, people's actions and shit, people's body mechanics will display everything going on in the psychosomatic brain and shit. Fucking, it's like they don't even gotta talk half the times. You can just see how they're dressed and how they walk and detail the last 6 months of their life and shit. And fucking, you can do the same shit with me. You can see I don't give a shit. Fucking. Anyway, so yeah, these people don't care, right? They just talk of you. This is the year 2026, and in the year 1980, I started asking questions and working towards other things, but we're on the question topic right now. But that is parallel to it, that there are things in the past that don't matter because it's you, and you don't matter. You don't matter, so what you're saying doesn't matter. And what does matter is people who own the media care about themselves, as most people do. People who are on the streets walking around care about themselves, as most people do. So when they speak, they are pushing themselves out there. There's a reason, there's going to be something, there's going to be. Almost 99% of the time, I rarely can think of it. The only time I even thought I spoke to someone in the past fucking couple decades was because I wanted to ask if they were into metal. It's like, get a bandmate, get a partner. Fucking, so like me, you know, like, why don't I speak to people for 40 years? Because I ain't got a reason to. When I see something, I'll say something. And when I do see it, I'm saying it because there's a fucking reason for me, For me, I'm not going up to them and like, hey, would you like someone to listen to Britney Spears? Let ya? Would you like me to clip your dog's toenails for ya? I'll wash your feet for you and lick your vagina. Fucking, obviously, those last two things are hinting at I'm coming after me. Can I get close to you? Just say, just a little bit closer to your vagina. Just say, yeah, nothing's gonna happen. Just the tip of my hand's gonna go in that area. Uh-huh. Yeah, we met these people before if you've participated in society. Now I do know people who went straight from school to family, and that means they probably haven't experienced human interaction because it's a different world when you're at a workplace. There's very few people like me who are going to just snap every now and then at a workplace and tell the customer how I feel about their attitude problem. There's, obviously I get talked to and the manager's like, well, yeah, I understand, but you can't do that. And I'm like, well, yeah, I understand that too, but I can't control it. And they're like, well, okay, well, come in tomorrow. Fucking, let's try not to do it again type shit. Fucking, it's rare. I'm pretty sure that's rare. I've had discussions with my bosses that are really like I've never seen them before. It's like, yeah, dude, I'm at Woodstock. Like, I'm not coming into work because we're going to Woodstock and shit. And he's like, okay, fucking, and whatever. I was like, yeah, I don't even feel like I'm doing good at the job. I shouldn't be working there. And he's like, no, but we need you. And I'm like, dude, I'm the worst worker. Fucking, he's like, no, come in. I've never even heard conversations like that at kind of in Netflix Daredevil yesterday, but that's because he was getting berated by his boss, not because he was offering it to his boss and shit. But yeah, there's questions from the '80s that will never get answered, right? In the '90s, and it just keeps moving forward, and they roll out a new thing, like they got the smartphones now, and they got the computers before, and they got the TVs before, and they've never discussed why they started selling cheap, crappy TVs. Just moved right past it in the year 2000. They started selling these flat TVs so they could reduce shipping costs by $120, but keep the price the same, or even jack the price up to increase the profits by $100 for each set sold. And so now you got these crappy flat screen TVs that have nothing on an old school CRT. So, yeah, see, we just moved right past it. No one even said anything except for me. And I'm saying this in 2020, right, or 2000. I'm buying like the best, the last final CRT made. Even after that, I'm buying the best used and shit, which go out eventually. Fucking, but there's no discussion of that and how. Like, you look at these new flat screens and they're like $10,000, $20,000, and it looks like a Van Gogh painting, bro. And I know we're supposed to be kind to mentally retarded people, but Van Gogh was a loser and that was trash. But it was water painting, and water painting is trash itself. So maybe it was good for water painting. I'm being judgmental because it's trashy. And AI is the only good art I've ever fucking seen besides Louis Royo, Vallejo. And even that, it's got nothing on AI, especially Vallejo. But anyway, so yeah, and that's another thing. That's a new topic that's not being discussed, is how great AI is and how you got losers who own everything who are not happy with AI replacing their filth factory of low quality music, low quality movies, low quality artwork. And they own the media, so that's probably their bots talking about it. But we're going to move right past this topic because this is exactly what happens every time one of these topics come up. They just move right past it. No one cares. I remember there's this item I had from my grandma back in that, probably from the 60s or 70s or 80s. And it lasted like forever. And then I bought a new version of it and I broke it in like 3 years. And it was already refurbished. So, yeah, that's a topic people have moved on past. The young people might not know that, but old people used to talk about that. How they used to be like, I'm always making fun of old people because they're stupid and they're like, Elvis Presley, everything was so much better. But they're correct. Some of the shit back, some of the shit. I had some shit that was poison, literal poison, fucking leaching paint into my fucking water. I was drinking and everything. You could smell it, you could see it, you could taste it, and you could tell it's probably. Hopefully, it took lots of years off my life doing that fucking. But the average person might be concerned that was happening, and I was praying it was happening. Fucking. But other than that, the other shit like the CRTs, they lasted forever. My last CRT TV receiver set, actually receiverless suit. My last large CRT fucking hit the ground and it's like heavy. So it's like smash. And it was just fine. The case was dented, cracked and dented, but the whole thing worked perfect. You're not gonna get that fucking with these things. Although I did try to smash my fucking large screens. And I had to hit the one twice, and I was fucked up. I was like, whack, with a fucking bat or some metal pole. And it didn't damage it, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with that? But not all of them are like that. Only the one seemed to have been resistant to me smashing it. But there's that, right? That product I bought was refurbished already after a couple years, and I believe one of them broke down after a couple more years after being refurbished. And then there was the product before my grandma gave me, like inherited from the family, that actually lasted that long and worked that long and shit. And so, and then now you got your smartphones, which are designed with the battery not to come in. I mean, see, where does this end? It just on and on and on. Waste of my time. Waste of my time to talk about the new shit because it's a waste of my time to talk about the old shit. Can't change batteries in the smartphone. That means the smartphone's disposable garbage. Very expensive disposable garbage. Someone's rich and lying about it. There's a lot of people out there who are rich and they're claiming they're not rich because they're spending all their money. That's like Elon Musk saying he's not rich because he's invested all his money in gold bars and shit, pretty much. So I see that happening a lot too. That's another topic we just breeze right by is how rich are you if you can afford to live in America and buy a whole bunch of fucking expensive shit and then afford to sit around and complain about being poor at a restaurant type shit. Fucking, it's something we're going to move right past is how come psychology doesn't have explanations or mental conditions for enslavers. What mental condition is that? People addicted to money. What mental condition is that? People addicted to whining. What mental condition is that? Well, they're not going to describe themselves. That's exactly what they are. It's rich people obsessed with money who are addicted to fucking whining and shit. That sums up psychology really well. Fucking. And druggers and enslavers. There we go. There's a reason they're not describing themselves and they're trying to market something to everyone else on the planet because they're all out for themselves. And they're going to talk right the fuck over you and shit to get what they want. No, we're going to create this place to torture people and electrocute them if they see invisible flying reindeer. Wait a minute. We are the people who see invisible flying reindeer. We're just going to use it for everyone else so we can take everything from them. Anyone we choose. It's not really for us. We created it. You see, there's all these topics you just move past. Who gives a shit who Donald Trump is? Who gives a shit who Joe Biden is? Before all that shit, there was tons of questions. Everyone's trying to talk over the previous questions to uh, fucking promote their agenda, and I guarantee you, a lot of them know what they're doing by doing that. They're clouding the fucking air because there's a lot of shit that shouldn't be talked about. You get to the root of some of this shit, and there's a lot of guilty people involved. There's not some invisible people who don't exist bombing Iran in the Middle East for 4,000 fucking years, right? It's not invisible people. But there's a lot of people out there who gotta keep talking, like the people in the media. They just keep talking, they keep on moving on. They're like, oh, Donald Trump started bombing Iran. Well, if you wouldn't keep ignoring everyone else and coming with your retarded shit 24/7, you'd start talking about that back in the 80s, probably back in the 60s, probably way back before. But you just moved on. You just moved the fuck on because you're trying to cover it up and sweep it under the fucking rug because it benefits you and shit. Because it benefits your children, your wife, your husband, your family, your life, your people. So they just move on. Why don't they discuss all the junk they sell and shit? Because they're the ones selling it. They're the ones benefiting. Of course, you turn on the news at the gym. They got this one gym over here. It's got your standard mind control programming for SAPs. For some reason, never seen that shit at a gym. Fucking make you want to not go to a gym real fast. And in between the commercials of the news, they're selling like these junk products like QVC does. It's just junk. It doesn't even work most of the time as advertised. It falls apart. It's made with cheap goods. They know that. I was explaining how this works. You can contact a Chinese factory right now and have them print out something. Have them make up something. You don't have to be anyone. You just call them up. You can have them steal another product and put your name on it. You can have them print stuff that's limited edition. As long as they've got the molds for it. No quality control, right? Unless you pay for it and investigate it yourself. That's not expected. But it's not needed either, right? If you're going to just sell junk and shit. Fucking, like there's a lot of pots and pans I bought recently that are just junk because they got cracks and crevices to hide fucking bacteria. So the first time you use them, 2 years later, you have mold and mildew in there from 2 years ago. And it's like, how do you even sell a product like that? You see how many products there are like this, and there's no me and we. They just move on past all this shit. They just don't care because they're the ones profiting. They're the ones who own the governments and the media and the banks and the bombs and the stores. They can just print more money or put another zero in their bank account or go bomb Iran and steal some money for themselves from them and shit. It doesn't matter. The average, and I'm getting the idea that some of these people around me some of them are fully on board, and it's like they know, like the streets don't get built without gold from Iran paying for the pavement type shit. I kind of get the idea that's it because, some of these fuckers put the government, like strangers in the government, above their fucking children that they had for slavery or by accident and shit. So that's, I've seen that, you can see that personality if you get fortunate enough to see it. It exists out there. And I agree. I say that This is why Black Lives Matter gets famous, because they don't consider themselves part of the system. So when they get killed by the system, they say something. Now, on my half, people who look like me, they are the system. So if the system accidentally shoots you in the head 6 times and cuts off your head, arms, and legs, then, well, oh well. You shouldn't have been putting your arms and head in the way of their machete. You know, that's a serious fucking thing. It's hive mind. Hive mind. No, Barack Obama called it the ant colony, where ants kill each other for the queen. Like, all the men, they're just mindless trash ants. They're just slave. They do nothing except for be slaves. And it's all for some dumbass queen and shit. I mean, it's cuck city there for sure. It's straight cuck city. At least some of these nations aren't ran by queens and stuff, but it's real close to them. It's real close. You can tell by all the propaganda, it's real close to cuck city and shit. Fucking. But the people at the top understand that cucks and the queens are cucks themselves, and they need someone to pimp them out. So there's, in the human world, it's a little bit different. You can control the cucks by controlling the queen and shit. You don't have to go to the gay bar and pass out your political pamphlets. You can send a female there, or send a female to the straight bar and pick up new minions with pamphlets. Have her pass out the pamphlets and shit, or pass the pamphlets out to her, and then she'll go spread the word. A little bit different. They got a little bit more brains than ants there. A little bit slightly different structure. Not a lot that you can look through the history, but it does look like they might have invented cuckdom after the Crusaders colonized the northern hemisphere. It does look like that's from the poets and the romance period. Which was probably just cucks trying to get women to let them wash their feet, So, obviously, right there at that point in time, you have Jesus born, cucks delivered to the north. Fucking. If you believe a cartoon character was actually born in that time. But I'm saying, in their storyline, they have a bird god. So, in their storyline, a giant bunny just came like a couple weeks ago to bring joy in the middle of them bombing the planet. I mean, you see how much they care about you? Like, no one gives a shit about you if they're talking to you about invisible flying reindeer and shit. Giant bunnies. They don't give a shit about you. I don't know how many people the average person hung out with when they were a kid, but I went to lots of schools. I lived in lots of areas. And that was just the first, that was the first part of my life too. As soon as I remember, went to lots of school, preschool, kindergarten, moved around, passed out 4 grades, moved around. And then from there, I was we went to the same school for like 2 years, 2 to 4 years. And then it was a new school every 9 months. So, I'm all over the place, getting lots of interaction. But you can tell, I would think you could tell at almost each school that there's assorted personalities. And some of those personalities are, if you had cash inside your rib cage, inside your heart, they would reach into it and pull it out and laugh and be like, oh, dude, that's so cool, man. You got some money, man. I'll see you later. And there's ranging from that to a man who will just stab you in the face and cut your head off and reach down your throat and then rip the money out your heart, and be like, you're a bitch. There's at least those 2 personalities when it comes to manipulation and not giving a shit about you. But there's definitely varying levels, you know. If you come up to me on the street and like I assume you're a scammer, and especially if I'm hanging out with a Muslim and a Hebrew, and you got one of your people coming up to me, tell me you got some jewelry to sell me. At that point in time, I realized, like, well, I already know these two people are scammers, so, and they don't need to be in my life, but yet they're here, so I know the stranger, they're not going to get $50 from me for gas for their fake, nasty looking jewelry I don't want to touch. And but if you were like my kid, and I vetted you, and I'd watched you for 10 years, and I knew you weren't a liar, and you had told me that you had a real diamond ring and you need $50 for gas, and you're going to give it to me, then I give it to you, you know. So I have that hierarchy too, and basically, if you aren't on that hierarchy of most people, if you aren't the girl they chose to be with, you are trash, there to be used. Yeah, so some people might value their kids or their pets. I know personally I value my pets above everything because I've chosen them to be in my life, and I got lucky, and certain ones chose me, and they just weren't trash. So that's actually incorrect. They kind of all chose me. But I know I value my pets above everyone, and that means you get kicked out of the house before they do. You know, if you got a problem with my pets, then see you later. Fucking no one asked you to be here anyways. So, and then below that would be my kids, right? If I had kids. And then below that would be a partner, if I have a partner. And then below that, everyone else has to earn any sort of ladder to climb up the pyramid. And that's the way probably the average person is you're just the usual rat walking around the street, and not even a dog, not even a cat, you know, because people like that, but you're just like a rat running around the dumpster and shit. You're not on that level of they trust you and love you and care for you, unless they're really gullible and they've never been outside, or they come from the country or something like that, and they've never experienced anyone in the world, or they've been their dad locked them in their bedroom their whole life, something like that. There's going to be that pyramid structure where you learn that you know, like where your money goes. I have $100. Do I give $100 to the person walking around the street saying they need $50 to get back to Israel? Or do I give that to my children for food? There you go. Real fucking simple. You think I'm an asshole? You are that scammer people are trying to avoid by creating these systems of loyalty and shit. It's something you need to learn and stuff, and you're gonna learn it. And if you don't learn it, I'm sure you're getting ripped off and shit. Fucking. I'm sure if you don't go to 20 different schools and move every 9 months and get 100 new friends every 9 months, I'm sure some people are still learning lessons into their 30s and 40s about this. A large thing here is people around you are telling you they're not doing it. Parents, systems, schools, media, religions, governments are miseducating people that they're your friends and no one is evil, except for, of course, someone far, far away in a land, you know, in a galaxy far, far away type shit. Fucking, there's people out there grooming their friends and their family to be this way and shit. I've seen people do it to their girlfriends. I've seen people do it to their kids, and of course, strangers, crackheads are especially doing that because the whole point of a stranger interaction is to get something. So the average person doing a stranger interaction is prepared to get something out of the interaction they do. And a person who is doing it as their method of getting stuff is used to doing it and has been grooming themselves to be better at it. So you got those things you got to worry about. And then you got the system telling you not to do that, right? Don't choose a person you like to date. You know, date whoever they send you, because people on the media are going to have a hard time getting dates if they don't tell you shit like that. And there's people grooming people. When you got a family that ain't really a family, the children are there for a purpose. They're either accidental and they're trash that they're trying to shuffle around and dispose of without disposing of them because it's illegal to, but how to set them on the shelf or make them of use so it doesn't hurt the life, but this unwanted accident has came in to interfere with. But we don't go to prison for literally throwing it in the dumpster, because they started throwing people in prison for that shit. So you can't do that these days. Fucking. But I think many people probably see that as an opportunity. Anyways, so again, here we are. We're moving on to different conversations, but there's all these things here. There's all these things not being discussed. Back from the 80s, we got discussion why there's still pedophile tactics out here. We got discussion why they're still blowing up the Middle East. Like back in the days, I was like, oh look, they're blowing up the Middle East, as they have been for 100 fucking years, ever since they started blowing up the world and shit. Oh no, wait a minute, it's been thousands of years. They blew up this nation in order to get the land, and then they had to set up the base. So. And then there's probably wars before that we didn't hear about. Fucking, I'm sure it wasn't all internal, just as steel. You really think it took 200 years to kill all the Native Americans and Canadians off? I doubt it. But I know a group of people who like to move on and not discuss what they're doing and like to cover it up best they can. And we just happen to be around a lot of those people, and those people just happen to be the largest group of them that we get to deal with for being around them. So, I'm not under the idea that there wasn't anything else going on there. But we know for a fact, about 200 years ain't much. Most countries are thousands of years old. So, 200 years, it's like a couple days. So a couple days ago, they was just bombing and invading this place. And then a couple days before then, they were over there, running an empire over there and shit. And doing the same thing, running opium wars. A couple days ago, it was them running opium wars. That's where they got their propaganda, reversey language, that someone else is running it on them. Drug monopoly. They're using their tactics. This is what they do. They tell you what they're doing, and they say an invisible goat's doing it, not us. Oh, it's so original, isn't it? I remember this one toddler wrote a book about that thousands of years ago. He was like, Moses was like, let's blame a goat for what I do. And everyone's like, oh yeah. If we blame a goat, they're really stupid. They'll believe it. A goat raped your children. A goat invaded your nation. Yeah. And it's not working, Moses. What should we do? Kill them. If they don't believe it, kill them. They better believe every word we say. We're going to kill them. You see, So let's stop talking about useless shit. Let's backdate this whole fucking event. All this shit. No more talk of Trump Just ignore them. They blow up, they dry up and blow the fuck away as they should. Just ignore it, like Biden. There's no questions about him anymore, and they're great. No questions about why a person was in the office who was clearly fried by drugs. No question about that. There's no question about none of this shit. You see, all these people just keep talking because they're like girls. And that's all they do is talk. And they're like, rabid. You can't spell rabbit without rabbi. That's interesting. I think it's one of those things. They try to make a funny out of something. Can't spell rabbit without rabbi. But you can't spell this shit without rabbi either. You can't spell ignoring invading the Middle East for isn't real 100 years ago, and then moving on every week and acting like it's a new invasion every week. And now USA just invaded the Middle East. Can you believe that? Oh, I never thought they would do that. Like, why did Donald Trump do that? Oh, he's a bad boy. Little Donald is getting all uppity and stuff. I can't believe he would take a great nation like America and do that. What the fuck? You see? It's just trash. And fucking ignore him and shit. That's the real answer. Just fucking ignore him and shit. But they don't let you. That's the whole point to the 24/7 hot fucking wind from these parasites. That's why men should be paid for their time and their communication and not slut themselves out like community pussy. Because the people who are inventing fucking men are the ones who are slutting them out, trying to find a million ways to slut them out for free and shit. Yeah, isn't that a coincidence? People who aren't fucking men aren't trying to do that. Interesting. They're very simple personality traits that from a baby with 6 capable actions, it expands into what looks like a 20, 30, 40, 80-year-old human being who's done a million things. But each of those million things is done from the core of 6 thoughts and 6 personality actions. Most people aren't even operating on that many yet. These 2 personality and a 3rd secondary, and you can derive their patterns by watching them. And you'll be able to see simply how this ties in together, talking over who does that. Well, that's a man who wants to have sex with men, or otherwise known as a woman. And, well, who's the one promoting that? Well, who's the one writing books on it? Well, who's the one? Who's the one who keeps doing it? Who's the one on the street doing it? Well, who's the one going to other nations, forcing them to hear them? Well, you see how that personality, you could view a Donald Trump as a 6-year-old, and is probably blah, 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 just talking about nothing and shit. He's probably one of those kids, like that one kid in church who went around saying he can't wait till he get older and go kill all the Arabs and steal their land and shit. Fucking, it was probably one of those kids, because the other Trump clones I met, definitely, that's what Howard Stern is. He's for, that's for people who want to hear people say, go kill all the Arabs. That's what he does. So their people go listen to them, and that's what they do and shit. And there's plenty of people like that. And I was surprised someone said that out loud at church. Like, you're not supposed to say it, dipshit. I think you're too dumb for religion if you're gonna say that shit out loud. You don't understand how it's worked for the centuries, and how easy it is to lose all that you work for if you fucking throw it in the trash like that and come out about killing everyone and raping everyone instead of hiding it behind reversey language. See, almost too dumb for religion. I mean, it's definitely too dumb for religion because I understand as a kid, that's what we're doing. We're using reversey language. We're like, well, we're gonna have to move back one day, and we're gonna have to fight for that, and blah 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 blah. We're not supposed to say we're gonna go kill everybody and steal their shit. It doesn't work. No one's gonna. Less people are gonna be on board. The Roman Empire was collapsed by being all open because people got tired of it. You gotta play that mind game on top of them, and then you can say, well, that's just. It's everywhere. But it's not deep. It's not hard to understand. It's not hard to see, but it's there, and it's telling you it's not there. And that's part of it's one of 6 personality traits and actions it can take. Makes me think of the movie Rambo. It's there, but it's not there. It almost makes you think that's an anti-war film, huh? But there's nothing anti-war about that. It's someone getting pissed. I noticed someone posting the other day didn't understand that film and used Rambo as like the dude in church, the kid in church who comes out like, I can't wait to go join the military and take over the Middle East. And it's like, you're not supposed to say it like that, buddy. You got a whole manual here on how to say the correct words to get people to listen to you and follow you and do what you want them to do. You're not supposed to say it like that. But he didn't understand what the Rambo shit fucking is. It's like, yeah, I'm tired. He used a Rambo picture. It's like, I'm tired of these foreigners in my nation. It's like, no, it's supposed to be fucking nationalism. It was supposed to be pro-government in disguise of liberalism. You can't just come out like that when you're using those meld together reversey languages used to manipulate and melt minds. It doesn't work. You got really fuck up some shit if you got a whole industry built upon manipulation and lies. And then you're all of a sudden like Trump, like he's coming out now and he's like, you're going to bomb him. And it's like, yeah, why don't you, dumbass? Fucking, because he's not supposed to do that. It doesn't work. It doesn't. No one in the world's going to be like, oh shit, that's not Hitler. He's saving the world. He's saving the babies from the incubators. Donald Trump says like, yeah, fuck it, kill him. And it's like, well, you just built a 300-year, you just expanded your empire, and you got that expansion based upon telling people you're the savior of the planet, and you're bringing everyone freedom, joy, and hope, and you're not supposed to do that, buddy, but I'm glad you do. I'm really glad you're honest, because we know it's easier to sort through that than it is to deal with 40 years of these other people who still have many people convinced that there's something they're not. And they're great people, and they're not savage psychos, and they're not rabid gerbils in disguise and shit. There's some people out there who probably have some people convinced forever and shit, especially when you have the threats of force and violence backing it, like, oh, I'm going to leave you and take half of everything you own in your house. If you ever question anything I say, you're never going to unmask the rabid gerbil in a situation like that fully. You might, but the reality is once they've got you at the point where you're saying what they want you to say, and you're not asking your own questions and thinking for yourself and doing what you need to do for you, then the chance you're going to get out of that, if they're backing that with force and violence, like if you begin to talk, like the other day, when the dude comes up to talk to me, and like 15 minutes into the fucking woman running his mouth, I just say a little question. I'm not even beginning to break down anything. I don't even care. I'm just wasting my fucking time because life's a waste and nothing could be more wasteful than life. So nothing in it's a waste, right? In a comparison level. And so I just say something a little stupid, but like it's like I don't even come off the last syllable of the question, and it was straight back into it and shit with threats and shit, and it's like But you see how that works is. He owns the globe. His people are bombing Iran. His people have invaded every nation on the planet and forced them to worship them as gods. Through tactics like this, where you just bring up a question 15 minutes into them running, their Al Sharpton dialogue, their Jerry Springer dialogue and shit. Fucking. I don't even know any men in real life like that. Fucking, I don't know what to tell you, and I definitely wouldn't let females like that around me. But I've seen videos. Can't say any of them are real. Fucking. But that happens, and that's what's happening, right? You're not seeing a mistake. That's a reoccurring pattern there, where someone is talking for 15 fucking minutes, and then you're like, oh yeah, I gotta go, my job, I'm late for my job already, or you got a question about especially when you got a question about something. Someone's been talking for 15 minutes. It's not question time for you. It's talking time for them. Fucking. So, you got con men and salesmen, the only people who ever come knocking on your door and approaching you on the street. They are selling junk. That's why they have to go on the street, because if they set up a storefront, no one will come to the junk store, and it'd be like this place I seen yesterday had 1-star rating on Google, and no one's gonna go there. So con men have to take that junk to the street and blah, 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 and blah, 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 and they try to get you to buy right now. I need it. I need the money. I need the time. I need the male prostitute. Fucking. That's all they're doing. It's all they're just talking over. And now with a lot of men, there's this thing since like the 80s or before where a lot of children are raised without a father, so they don't have a man around to teach them how certain type of people might act or not. And so I never got taught that people would talk all the time. Well, actually, you know what, my grandma, but she was really all this from way back in the day and shit. Fucking way back. That bitch was growing up during WW2. Fucking, she was having kids during WW2. Fucking. So that's a long time ago. Each generation, the personality and shit kind of changes. And then it broke off. That was kind of the first fatherless generation, too. So not everyone's fatherless yet. A lot of men died in wars, so kind of beginning. And then, so from there on, there was not many people saying, don't let people run their fucking mouths all the time about dumb shit. Fucking, they're just trying to con you and talk over you and shit. So here we are. We're in 1980, or we're in 1980 when we first see some of this shit, right? And they're like, oh, America's invaded the Middle East. And I'm like, okay, yeah, so, I got this book right here where it says you've been invaded in the Middle East for thousands of years. And then you got this war story where I later learned that they were invading the Middle East in the 1940s, 1950s. So, you know, I'm asking the question back then, why are you doing that? And then they're just talking over blah 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 Bible blah 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 Islam blah 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 child mutilate the mutilating females blah 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 fucking off smartphone blah 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 computer off flat screen blah 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 Elvis Presley Metallica they just got all this shit they talk about to continually cover it. I had a fucking Easter bunny, I had a fucking flying reindeer, and then so every year, maybe every couple months, maybe every couple years, they're like, oh, look, why is America invading a nation? Why is America invading a nation? Like it's some new thing because they're busy. Once they put that out, they're like, hey, we're bombing them, but check this out. There's this new perfume. Oh, my God, it's so good. And then there's this AI stuff. We're going to rename computers AI, man. Oh, man, isn't it cool? No, it's not. Is it cool or is it not? Let's have a discussion, man. And then the next week, they're like, well, we're bombing another nation. And it's never we're bombing another nation. It's we're bombing a nation. It's always we're bombing a nation. We're never at war, but we definitely are always at war. And then it's always a new thing. It's always, Biden left the Middle East. Oh, did he? Did Biden take all them troops who invaded the Middle East back in 1960 or 1980? Did he take them out? Oh, poor baby. Oh, you're saying that's happened 100 times since then. You see, when someone's saying the same thing 100 times over 100 years, they're not saying anything of value. This is low content character, little value to offer the planet, nothing to offer the planet, and they're talking for some sort of reason, whether it's their own ego and their drug adrenaline fuel they get from picturing themselves in a dress and having sex with men and having dinner conversations with them, whatever the purpose is. I'm sure it's somewhere in between there. They just keep talking. Obviously, the point to keep talking and to not talk about why the media trash is because the media is the trash, and they're not going to talk about why they're trash. So, there you go. Very simple. Shouldn't need this explained. Shouldn't be hanging out with people who can't fucking figure it out. I know no one I've ever known. I hung out with a girl who had a person with them who listened to the radio, but it was like a comedy show. Howard Stern's like a comedy show where he just occasionally says, kill the Arabs. It's not quite Rush Limbaugh or the TV. But, shit, I had a friend tell me he watched the news once because he found where I was at, and I was like, how do you find me? He was like, I seen you on the news, and I was like, dude, what do you mean no one watches the news? What are you talking about? It's a waste of time and a waste of life. I could have told you in 1986 what was going on the planet, and that's the same thing going on right now and shit. Especially with the Trump thing. A little bit different. Took till the 90s for the cheap garbage to flow in. Although purchasing that one thing from the olden days that was truly garbage makes me think twice. Everything that lasted till today wasn't garbage. So if you bought some in 1960 and it broke the next day, you just wouldn't know it because it would have got thrown in the garbage in 1960, and you wouldn't see it in the year 2020. So again, I shouldn't really trust the words of other people, should you? You shouldn't do that. Fatal mistakes were made every time. So, anytime any of this trash talks, just fucking ignore them. You know, give them. I'm probably, when I get a car, I'm gonna go to the gay bar and get some fucking, see if they have any business cards. And anytime someone tries to talk to me about this trash, I'm just gonna hand out the cards and be like, you know what? You seem desperate here. I have exactly the place where there's a bunch of men who want to talk to you. I'm going to do this. I'm seriously going to do this. I'm so glad we had this conversation. I am getting ready to write this down right now. We are not going to skip this moment, but it's definitely something I've been thinking about for a while. So I've been thinking about how to do this properly, because you don't want to like insult the gerbils too much, because you know how women are, right? Like, you gotta, no, you don't look fat in that dress, and you can't buy him a gym membership either, but you gotta start packing your shit up slowly and moving it out slowly, and they're like, what happened to that piece of paper that was laying there? Are you moving out? So you gotta move it out, like tear off a little piece at a time. Be like, yeah, we're moving out of this house. Like, don't take too much at once, because they'll notice if they're trying to keep you around. But slowly move one little thing out of the house at a time and get the fuck away from that crackhead. That's how you gotta deal with some of these fuckers. And so, I suppose I'm gonna get some fucking business cards to hand out. And suggest that there's a conversational meeting place for people like them. I'm going to say it. You're going to have to say that a lot more. If I handed a woman a business card for a place that said, find a rich man now, and she came up and talked to me, plenty of rich men here, she might actually get pissed. So you got to kind of tone it down, like have the business card say, great men available here and shit. Great conversations. I'm sure they're not supposed to talk about politics there, but I don't give a shit. I'll write that on the card. Like, fucking, maybe I'll make my own up for the place to advertise it. Definitely. Fucking. But then I won't want to go there and listen to the good music. Fuck it, not that I do. No big loss. Fucking, I don't think they're gonna go either, because people in the closet remain in the closet. Fucking, maybe they'll thank me one day or something, I don't know. Maybe they'll thank me one day when they find a better life. At the conversation stop. Conversation stop. I'll change the whole thing. I won't even say what's on it. I'm going to put, if I'm going to make my own, I don't want to waste money. You see, this is fucked up. I got to waste time and money avoiding motherfuckers my whole life and trying to help them get their life on track where it needs to be and shit. Because we're ignoring my life and we're moving on to helping them figure out where they need to be in life. And helping them find a man to date or talk to. Of course, everyone only wants to talk to a man, right? If you're in the closet, you only want to talk to a man. Fucking, I'm sure, and very simple personalities, not hard to figure the fuck out here. But this is pointless, right? All I should have talked about, fucking think about the last 20 years. It's still flat screens out there, right? There is no more CRTs. Superior picture quality, but a waste of time to talk about, wasn't it? Because the rich scam artists and their fucking lesser-than-less minions work together to promote this system for centuries. And go around and colonize the earth. It's a cute word for enslave and dominate. But it's what they do, right? They change these words. And when you're like, well, why are you changing your word to sissy talk? They'll be like, yeah. They got a word for that. or you're evil, you're Muhammad, or you're Einstein, or one of those evil characters from the Bible and shit, fucking, or from any religion, right? Let's stop talking about the Bible just because I'm into white. Some Middle Eastern people rape white people, and fucking, that's not even white people religion, fucking. I'm forced to talk about that because I live here. But if I lived in the Middle East, they tell me I'd be forced to talk about Muhammad and hey, die. And then if I lived in China, I'd be told ignore that because it's all stupid and to worship Karl Marx. So it's like and if I lived in Russia, then that's he's fucking the Pope. And then if I live in Sweden, apparently it's Satan. They tell me if I lived in Africa, it'd be like some voodoo warlord. So, just whatever they created when they colonized you and shit is what you talk about. So that's what you talk about. Because it's the words you know. It's the words they've thrown in your mouth and had you repeat over and over and force you to say over and over and over, force you to listen. And your music, every one or two songs is propaganda and regurgitating of some unoriginal words they wrote 6,000 years ago and shit. Fucking. Meanwhile, while they're doing that, they're avoiding questions about why are you doing this, why are you doing that, and then they got a new thing, a new piece of junk, kind of breathing machine, so I can go outside and climb the mountains. Oh, I'm 80 years old. My life is completely over. I'm a walking corpse. I need a breathing machine so I can keep on living. Oh my God, I never knew I needed a breathing machine. Oh, Jesus, thank you, Jesus, and the hospital people for bringing it to me. I need my breathing. Those people are just lazy. That's why they can't breathe. They're not going outside. Or maybe some old people got figured out they shouldn't go outside. Fucking, and then they're just gonna they're gonna have their insurance charge the government for the breathing machine, and then they're just gonna keep it in their closet or throw it away, as I do most of the fucking drugs the doctors give me and shit. Most of the shit I got, everything was thrown away at one point. So everything that doctors give me gets thrown the fuck away. But someone's paying for it, and I'm not paying. Well, I'm paying for some of it, unfortunately, but I'm not paying for most of that shit. Fucking. And I'm paying for a damn breathing machine so I can be 80 years old and keep living. You're not even going to be able to climb a mountain. If you can't breathe, you're not going to be able to hold a breathing machine while you climb a mountain. Why don't you just take fucking 400 pounds of dumbbells up the mountain with you, too, and just throw the breathing machine away because you're not going to need it. Fucking. It's so stupid. You see, that's what happens. They just keep talking. They just keep talking, and people let these people keep talking and not silence them and not remove their legs and prevent them from walking to go cause problems and using their hands to cause problems if they're fucking going to keep doing that if you take their tongues away and shit. But it keeps happening. So here I am, 2026, and all I think about all the time is a bunch of questions I had in 1980. That's all. I'm not the person who lives in the past. I'm the person who gets shit done. And so we're on the shit we wanted to get done back in the 80s, the questions we started asking then. We're on some questions, more towards 2000 and shit, because we've given up and we forgot. You know, we had that beaten and drugged out of us for the first 15 years. But after those 15 years, I can pull up questions from back then. Definitely still asking a couple of them and shit. Definitely got talked over the other day. 40 years later, get fucking accosted on the street. My male prostitution services for free. Fucking demanded. And I begin to ask a question from 1980 that they've refused to answer since, and they just blow right past it. I think the first clue here is it's a fat ass. That means it's a gluttonous pig. And it's probably out for itself. And then the second clue is it looks disgusting, which is reflecting its inner beauty and its personality and its facial fucking, and how it holds its eyes. You know, that's why pedophiles all look like pedophiles, because they're worried someone's going to catch them and shit. All right, they're like thinking of how disgusting that is and how painful it's going to be if someone starts chopping them off with a machete when they find out that they're raping a kid. So they look like sneaky little bastards who are hiding something, because they feel like sneaky little bastards who are hiding something. So it shows on their face and shit. Fucking, that's why most of my faces is like looking at like a fucking wise old owl, because in a human, that don't mean I'm a wise old owl. That means I'm fucking amazed at how fucking stupid some of this shit is. That's why I got bitch face, because there's no fucking point to fucking being involved in it. There's no point to letting yourself get emotionally involved in none of this shit. Because 1980 got a question, still asking that question last week when someone forced their way into my life, fucking, and started talking to me, and I agreed to it, and then they just keep talking, and then I ask questions, they move right past it. And it's like, well, here we are, 46 fucking years later. A question I'm asking, a question a baby's asking someone, they're being talked right the fuck over. Pointless. What's Donald Trump doing today? Who gives a shit? Are we solving the problems from yesterday? Or are we just creating new problems that we're not going to solve, but someone else is going to benefit? Who's moving on to the new questions in order to benefit the benefiters of the old questions and shit, right? Kind of reminds me of the whole political thing. It's left-right. It goes back and forth, and they just erase the questions, and then it turns into, oh, Biden's stupid, and then, oh, Trump's stupid, and then they're not. They feel. They're like, oh, that's so great, Biden saying we won. Oh, that's so great, Trump saying we won and shit. And it's like, well, you do remember this happened 4 years ago, right? Or 8 years ago. And then it happened 8 years before that. And then it happened 8 years before that. Just like the war thing. Did Trump invade the Middle East? What do you mean, did Trump invade the Middle East? I still remember 1980, 1986, 88. I think it was like 88, where I specifically remember watching on the TV. And, it was probably actually 90 that year. It was fourth grade. Fourth grade after I got passed up and then passed back when I got shuffled around schools and what appeared to be a concerted effort to do exactly that. Fucking, I get watching him invade the Middle East in 1990, right? So, did Trump invade the Middle East? Why are people talking about Trump bombing the Middle East? Wasn't that George Bush who bombed the Middle East? Huh. I don't know. I can't keep up, right? I still got questions about that from 1980. So why are we moving forward? If you want to do something about it, let me tell you, there's a lot of stuff in the deck. There's a lot of cards in the deck you can be playing with. And they go way back further than Trump invaded the Middle East the week before Easter last week. Okay, so all that shit. You don't move on. You don't let them talk about the new. You make them answer for their lies and everything they're refusing to talk about. You don't let them keep talking. You got to do whatever it takes. Like me, I went out and I got in the media people's faces and I talked to the media owners and the cameramen. And of course, they had their minions, their robot minions, assault me in the street for the shit like that. But if everyone does it, there won't be many of them left because we'll get rid of their minions and we'll get rid of them and shit. And there's more than one person out there at a time, we'll be able to fucking manhandle all of them and shit. Fucking can't be just one person approaching them about this shit. Fucking. And it's a lot more than them making it happen. A lot of people are moving on, talking about shit. Today, a lot of people are probably not involved anymore, right? Like I'm 40, I got involved in this for a short while. I already knew it was a waste when I was younger, but then I got involved, I got tricked into it, and then I learned like just how worthless that is. But most people are beating and raping and drugging their children into it, and then blaming Jeffrey Epstein in the news for what they're doing to their children type shit. Fucking that's where the larger thing is. So I don't want to hear it. I don't care who invades who. I want answers for what happened in the 1980s. I don't care what product's being sold. I want answers for the products that keep getting sold the last 30 fucking years, and why those corporations haven't paid back everyone they robbed. I don't move on and forget about what the trash does so the trash can do more. What you do is you stop listening to trash, you stop hanging out with it, you stop going around it, you stop talking about them. Irrelevance is important. Have you ever heard of the giant bunny Jack Squiggly Diddly? No, you haven't. Why is that? Because no one's ever talked about it. It doesn't matter if it exists or not. The reason you haven't heard of it is because it's irrelevant and no one talks about it. The only reason it's irrelevant is because no one talks about it. As you can see with flying reindeer and the giant Easter bunny, it doesn't have to be real to be relevant. All it has to have is people fucking talking about it to make it relevant. And now you just quit fucking talking about them and they go the fuck away. And no one cares about them. No one cares about their corporations or their products. You just stop talking about them. Stop talking about their shit. Stop talking about their trash. Stop advertising it. I stopped talking about Hollywood stars back in the 90s and shit. And now we got AI. That's their biggest fucking promoter and shit, is their music and their movies. It just, as their biggest source of free money is their AI generated bullshit that they spend $10 fucking advertising. I mean, they own the media. They don't have to spend any money advertising it. They just make a little clip of it, edit it in a video. I'm like, check it out today. Go watch it. And it's like, well, no, too fucking bad. So sad. And that's all it takes. Just ignore it. How would I know there's a giant Easter bunny if everyone else who wasn't Jeffrey Epstein was out here telling me about it? I wouldn't. Jeffrey Epstein, when I went to collect money from those people, they gave me money. They weren't like, oh, did you know there's a flying reindeer? They never told me that shit. Other people out here are the ones talking to me about shit like that. They're the ones making it relevant. They're the ones making it happen. They're the ones giving them cover. Obviously people in the media are going to promote what they do. Just focus on that. Focus on how they're trash. They need to be shut up. They need to have their corporations seized and all their families' wealth taken from them. How about that? Let's focus on that. One thing, we can move straight to the current time. Seize all the corporations, especially the media owners, all their fucking wealth, all their families' wealth. Fucking repurpose it. How about that? I've been saying that forever. All right. We're moving on past it all the time, and I've been saying this for a long fucking time. Take everything from me. Everything NBC owns. Everything everyone who works at NBC owns. Gone. Stripped from their pocket. They owe more than that. We might have to follow this discussion up with labor camps and gulags. And I am fine with that. If your math, bring a mathematician on board, get the numbers out. How many of these corporations have been robbing people? And is it more money than the corporation is worth? And I guarantee your ass we will find Microsoft owes the world more money than Bill Gates has. So he's going to have to find a way to work to pay off the fucking debt. I'm fine with that. There we go. Perfect conversation. Only conversation you ever need to have. And of course, you're going to have these fucking giant bunny losers who are working for him, trying to interrupt with the female gossip talk and shit about not today, my lord. Fucking type shit. Seems to be all they're doing there, interrupting their bombing with the story of a hope and joy from the Easter Bunny. I got some hope and joy. Hope and joy is going to be putting Bill Gates' money back into your pocket where it belongs. Hope and joy is going to be putting NBC, ABC, CBS, Facebook money back in your pocket where it belongs. And if you don't want it in your pocket, I'll take some of it. I'll take a little bit. I'm sure they owe me at least $5 or something. I'm sure you give everyone $5, that's more than they got. They're going to owe the world a lot. They've been eating rich. They've been living fancy lifestyles, all on this stolen money that they're all working. All these corporations selling this garbage and shit. They owe more than they have. I guarantee you they owe more than they have. Ron Paul wants to audit the Fed because he thinks there's nothing in there. They're spending, they're shipping it off. Offshore. The Templars did this before. They stole all the gold before they got executed and killed. Fucking, it was already gone. They've already played this game before. Fucking, that's where offshore comes from, is the Knights Templar pretty much invented hiding away the gold in a different place. The famous pirates of the Trump. Pirates of the Trump Bible. There we go. There's something to talk about. There's something to focus on. Taking the money out of these corporations' pockets and put it back into all the people's pockets they're taking it from. What you can do, if you want to contribute, you come up with a list of all the trash you've been sold, all the scams you've been sold, all the people involved in those scams. When you get sold a scam product, it's not always one of the crackheads outside being paid by the government to come sell you a cheap piece of garbage, being paid by the religious government or the church to come and sell you a cheap piece of garbage, temple, whatever you want to hide behind next and shit. A lot of times, it's going to involve Elon Musk, Weinstein, NBC, CBS, ABC, Google, promoting that it's one small family. It's a large family because they've been raping everyone across the planet. But it's one family. And they own most of that shit. And they're all working together. You can fucking see BlackRock has stock in almost everything. But you can also spend a $20,000 traveling the U.S. to go check out who actually owns these local stores and shit like that. And you might see the same exact thing too happen there. But who's involved in that? Start doing that and say, dude, stop paying attention to them. Stop repeating what the fuck they're saying. What they've never said nothing of value. They're never gonna do anything. I've never learned anything by watching TV. Never learned anything by watching them. All the shit I know, building computers, all that shit, which they make outdated so they can sell more trash. Fucking. That's another topic we need to discuss is why do I have to go get a special mechanic to work on a car that's 10 years old? Planned obsolescence, all these corporations doing planned obsolescence, everything they own is yours. Their family's mansions, their family's dinner. It's 11:50 a.m. They're getting ready to eat your lunch at the Ritz Hotel. Caviar and steak. That's your caviar and steak. They're eating it. Why are you allowing them to do that? Why are you talking about other things while someone else is eating steak and caviar you paid for by scamming you? Think about it. Think about it. Now just stick with that thought. I know it's not very comfortable to be upset and shit, but it's going to keep happening as they tell you to keep raping you. Life ain't always a good thing, and it's up and downs. Oh, that's because you think Elon Musk has a bad life? You think the people at CBS who are eating your steak and caviar that they earn from selling you some junk on the TV, you think they got a bad life right now? You think there's I guess maybe the caviar wasn't cold enough and the steak wasn't warm enough, You could, maybe there's a little speck on the fork or something, Maybe the carpet wasn't plush enough, They're used to 2-inch plush carpet and this is like a low-cut velvet carpet, or maybe they got a little a piece of hail hit their shoe, their fancy shoe, and they got a little stain on it, mark. It's a permanent mark, bro. Don't fucking cut me down. It's $250 pair of shoes. That's a permanent mark there. Fucking don't devalue my fucking shoes I've stolen from you. Fuck this, bro. Fuck all this people talking about dumb shit. Fucking these corporations owe more than any of them can afford. They've all, almost, I won't say all, but many of them. We have solid fucking evidence. What is it I just say? You see, there's so many of them I fucking forget. It's because it just keeps happening. They keep moving on. They keep moving on past the last and introducing the next and shit, right? Fucking the new piece of garbage they're selling and shit. Fucking the new scam they're fucking pushing. And man, you just turn on the news and today, right now, and it's 12 o'clock. I'm sure there's some sort of new newscast. And in my city, the NBC, ABC, CBS have they got the CVS shit where they're selling like junk in between. That's the commercials. They're selling the junk straight to you instead of the advertising. Fucking Google's got all that junk they're selling, and their people got they got the temple, they got the church, they got the synagogue, they got the satanic temple, they got the Buddhist temple. If you don't like one, you can go to the other. One's scamming you, you gotta go to the other, and that's all they do is pass the buck on and shit. But it's all the same people working together who wouldn't be there. If it was my media, you wouldn't be advertising bullshit in it. Because it's my media, and I have control of it. I control what's advertised on my media and shit, especially the advertising. I can't control 150 million YouTubers a day, but I can control 100 ads. I can hire 5 people to watch those ads and be like, yeah, if someone's scamming people or talking about some sick shit and fucking using manipulative LGBT language, religious language to milk people their money type shit, And we get rid of that. But they're the ones doing it. The reason you know self-help exists is because they're the scammers selling it. They're the people who invented that shit thousands of years ago. That you need to pay them to listen to them, to hear what the fuck they have to say, because they're so intelligent they failed kindergarten and shit, fucking, and they know everything because they made it the fuck up because a burning bush told them and shit. Fucking, they made it up in their fucking head is the real words, but you fucking Scooby-Doo and the Flying Brontosaurus fucking did it. Man, scam alerts right over here. Scam alert. That's so accurate. It's so accurate. Fucking. Well, good luck with that. Good luck with all that. But the important thing to do is kick these fuckers out of your life. Don't talk to them. Don't allow them to talk to you in public. Disgrace them in public if they try to talk to you about that shit. Let them know that it's unwanted. Let them know that it's not right to do that shit. It's not right to move on from topic to topic and talk over people. It's not right to form organizations to legalize doing it so you can rape children and shit. Let's get to the root of what it's all about. What's under that pile of brush that's setting it on fire? It must be a fire. Huh. It's not just all sticks and twigs, huh? Fucking, there's a reason someone's talking. Like me, the reason is I don't give a shit, so I'm fucking saying what I see. That's the biggest reason. And I'm done talking. I'm going to beat myself in the head and take some drugs to try to fry myself, so I shut the fuck up. Because this is too much. I shouldn't have to say this. I could have said this back in the 80s, and I've said it a couple times since then. Don't need to say it again. Going to try not to say it. I haven't said you need to do this in about 6-10 years. So I'm going to try not to say it too much anymore. And I'll let you know when I get updated on the next revelation of what scheme they're up to next, the next nail in their coffin and shit. I'm sure there'll be something, right? I think we got most of it figured out. Anyway, so, those people, those fuckers at CBS had someone assault me and shit, bro. They owe me like $1 million at least for that. But why did they assault me? Because they know their people are also milking me of my entire life and shit. So they owe me for my entire fucking life because they've been intricately networking together in a way where they can do these things, where they can not take accountability for their family's crimes and their family actions against the entire fucking planet, enslaving and raping and robbing and genociding the fucking planet. It's what it all boils down to, is you get to the root, and you got the real fucking sword to deal with the fucking problem here. But you can always start with they owe you money. You'll figure out why they'll take in your money if you stay with it long enough. You'll figure out that money is nothing, and your body, your blood, and your life, your ability to create things that robots can't create are far more valuable than the money they're stealing. You get old enough and you'll figure out your money's a waste and shit, and it's not going to buy you any more blood for your body, and your body's about to go bye-bye, and all that time you spend on that money fucking waste and shit. You'll figure that out. Donald Trump's got that figured out and shit. He knows he's about gone and shit. Fucking old people figure that out and shit. Fucking people figure that out. 20 to 40. They figure the body's dying, and they're not gonna all the work in the world ain't gonna ain't gonna grant them immortality. I don't know. Are there people delusional enough to think that after 6,000 years of being promised eternal life that they're going to find the Holy Grail and the breathing machine to climb up the mountain? You've got to seriously have some mental issues if they've been talking about that for 6,000 years and you still believe in it, right? Like 6,000 years ago, when these people on the street come up to you and they're like, well, the Easter Bunny's got a serum for $100. Will you live forever? Give me your money and let me rape your children and you'll live forever. You know what? I think 6,000 years ago, someone went around doing that. They would come up missing and no one would care. So I kind of get the idea that no one was really going around selling eternal life serums and holy grails that grant immortality. Because the first time you do that, if you don't move to a different city after doing it, you better make it worthwhile. Do it to a king, charge him half their kingdom's wealth, and get the fuck out of there. Because the first time without this modern USA government to protect you from your actions, people like that would be thrown in the sewer and no one would care. Their parents won't care. Their children will be happy they're gone. Their wives will definitely be happy they're gone, if they have any of that. And everyone in society will be happy they're gone. No one's going to miss the snake oil salesman and shit. It's like this person fucking selling scam phones for the government. If they didn't have the government protecting them, if they just accidentally slipped into the sewer system, no one would ever notice that they're there. Or not there anymore, right? No one knows. I don't even know the person's name. That's how irrelevant he considers himself, is he doesn't introduce himself with the name. You know, and no one cares. It's the Verizon government scam salesman. That's why the news reports of corpse of Verizon government scam salesman found in the sewer. Has hair and 2 eyes and 2 legs. If you know anyone who looks like that and is missing, contact us and find out if it's him and shit. Fucking 6,000 years ago, there wouldn't be a problem. There wouldn't be people like that. 300 years ago, there wasn't a problem like that. They had to invent the police to enslave people, to round up slaves, and that's what the police do here, is they're out here protecting people who are selling scams and threatening people to fucking go kill the Arabs for them so they can steal their gas from them and shit. Fucking, 300 years ago, people wouldn't have the balls to do that shit. And if they did, they'd swiftly be never remembered or seen again and shit. But they call it, the vaginas called it the Wild West, where if you're a piece of trash, someone would shoot you. So it was all wild, right? It was wild. Trash got shot by someone. I can't believe someone shot the trash. Fucking. That's what it was. That's what it should be. Right now, you got mega corporations doing all this, and then you got those people, slimy, nobody's working for this government and the mega corporation to do all these scams, and they shouldn't be allowed to talk. And obviously, you're not going to be able to get everyone to live a quality life. Trash is going to have to find trash to date, so they're not going to be able to keep, and they're definitely not going to want to date trash themselves, so they're not going to go, looking for a fellow low IQ rat. They're going to they're trying to get more from nothing as much as they can and scam and rape as much as they can. Obviously, we're not talking to those people. The media workers aren't going to go put themselves in camp and start working to repay all their debts to the world and shit. Media people don't just owe for all the junk they're advertising. They owe for all the nations that they're bombing and shit. They owe China for trillions of dollars for blocking their phone company from being sold in America. I would have to go to Europe to get a phone from a company I trust. But American corporations and their minions are trash who force me to buy their phones because they're trash who know people don't want their trash and they have to force it upon the fucking world. And they have to force you to buy their trash products. They have to go on the street with their fucking minion crews and try to fucking corner you and threaten to kill you and torture you if you don't give them money and buy their trash agenda. Fucking see those fuckers, old people, you know those fuckers own a church on every damn corner that's tax-free. That's a lot of free property they could be paying the world back with. But all that shit is just what they owe Iran alone. Every church in the world is just what they owe Iran alone. Yet alone, every nation that they've occupied and killed off and shit. Me and my ancestors and shit. Most of them aren't even alive anymore. How much do you pay for that if you're fucking a genocide? Well, they put a price on a non-existent genocide, so I got some ideas. They want to go, they're the ones doing it, so they got reparations for their holy hoax. And it's like, well, we have proof that they're out here bombing and enslaving and threatening to torture everyone across the planet every day and taking over every government to shift blame back and forth and shit. Fucking enslave and rape children and then blame someone else for the greatest people on the greatest race on the planet. See, that's another thing. Fucking, well, you're like enslaved by religitard corporations and shit. Corporate government religious, not fucking terrorists and shit. They're just, all they have is this moving on to the next thing because they owe the world for thousands of years of fucking pillaging and slavery and it's going on. How much do they owe Iran right now? How much does America owe Iran? How much do they just blow up in Iran and destabilize and discomfort those people? They probably owe Iran fucking $2 trillion just for the last fucking month and shit. Maybe more. I don't know the exact figures there. I'd place it around $2 trillion America owes Iran for what they did in April and shit. You see, America's been around 300 years. And America's not just doing that to Iran, they're doing that to Mexico and Venezuela and me and other people in this nation and the Europeans. And looks like they're doing it to the Russians too. And they owe China because they're banning their products from being sold, their best products from being sold here and shit, which also sets us back. So not only do they owe China trillions for that, but they owe us trillions because they're setting our education and our capability back by doing that. So it's an all or nothing game for this trash. And they don't have enough money to pay back everything they owe the world. But I have a solution. Yeah. See, they know that too. They came up with that a long time ago. They were like, if someone figures this out, they're going to come up with the solution to the problem. Every word they say is a deep-seated fear in what they expect to be coming. Donald Trump fears this final solution and shit. That's why they got to co-op the fucking group the fairy tale fucking Easter Bunny group they created that supposedly had a solution to Donald Trump and shit. Fucking, but that's what it is. And it's like, once you realize they're out there killing and raping, setting up your whole fucking life. Imagine some of these fucking people who have been cocked their entire lives waking up realizing that the wife they had and their kids are the enemy who invaded their nation and raped them. Imagine how many people that person deserves to erase from the planet for some shit like that. That's not a want. That's called karmic retribution is a must and shit if you got that happening. And that definitely is happening because before the Middle Easterners left Middle Earth 6,000 years ago, they said that's what they were doing. So you can still read their book today that they're fucking cornering you on the corner with to get money from you and get you to go kill people and rob people for them. They're still cornering you on the corner today with that book, telling you how their people are raping their way into your life. Once you're dead, once you got kids with the enemy, you realize everyone's the enemy. Once you realize you got the enemy in your life being forced to date you, you realize. Once you realize that one of your parents, imagine the kids. Imagine the kids. It's like me. Like, I am the person who realizes my history and what I'm told happened. I am the result of that. I have no care. I have no fucking calm over any of that shit. I understand it's rape and torture and terror in the first degree of this is their personalities from birth. Their people come together and organize and discuss and write books and create religions and create governments and create systems to torture, rape, and kill and enslave. I understand that. I'm told large portions of my family don't exist anymore because of them and shit. And I can see from my own fucking standpoint that I've been real close to some of these people who are either them or way the fuck on board with them. That's how I know. You know, you go to church and you got some people accidentally telling you that they can't wait to go kill the Arabs. And it's like, well, yeah, I can't wait till you go kill them and get the fuck off my land and go back home. How about that? But you're not going to do that because you're just a savage murderer. Fucking, your goal in life isn't to do anything good. It's to murder and kill. That's what it leads to, you know. People like me and shit who don't care because I have no allegiance, and they know that too. That's what Babylon is. That's what happened to Rome, is they filled their little fucking shithole. They filled Italy with all these fucking other people that they were raping, and then they got raped and killed for it. That's what happens. It's not like, ooh, it's so sad. No one in history is like, oh my God, I can't believe they killed the Romans off. No one's ever said that. Until recently, I did see a couple, but it's like, God, you gotta be NPC. Fucking, there's no one in person who's ever admitted. Everyone says they're Italian. No one tells you they're Roman. Fucking, they're all scared to say that shit. Fucking, because there ain't that many of them and shit. Or there wasn't back then, right? There probably is today. There's a lot. In America, I don't see a lot of these people they blame for all their actions. And think about that, too. Think about that in America. How they're constantly telling you Germans own America, and Germans are using America to bomb the Middle East to create Israel. And Germans are fucking enslaving the Chinese from America. And Germans are bombing Ukraine and Russia fucking from America. Why would Germans tell you that if they own the media? That's something they're doing. That's a little lie they're promoting. But anyway, so yeah, just shut these fuckers off. Don't let this trash talk. You know, I know they're trash, but we need to form a nation where trash isn't allowed to exist or speak. Fucking, once we detect one of them's on the path to trash, I don't know, fucking cut their tongue out and fucking sew their lips shut. I don't care. Investigate the parents for why they're trash. That's always the solution to why a kid's trash. Investigate the parents why they're trash. Because someone's raising it to be trash. Fucking. And in America, who's raised by what? You got the religio government media. most people are probably raised by and shit. And then their parents, who were raised by that, always trying to blame some invisible entity that doesn't exist for their actions, so I'm not too big on that one. But there's something to talk about. Hey, we talked about that 10 years ago, and now we're back on it. Just like America started bombing the Middle East 100 years ago. It's not a new topic. We either talk about when they started helping fucking Germany bomb them, or we don't. We're not females. We can come up with something new to discuss here. I've got better things to discuss. That color in shape of dog shit. Fucking, I don't need to know what Donald Trump is doing. I already know what he's doing. I've already met his people before. I've met his clones. I know exactly what they're up to. They've told me the things about them that I didn't know they were doing, like some dumbass NPC. They're trash. There's no reason to discuss Donald Trump. We already know what the little gerbil brain is up to and shit. We've already met 4 of him. Okay, so it's not a very simple being. Has 6 actions it can and will perform. It's after we're done discussing that, 5 minutes later, we don't have to discuss it again. We can discuss what to do about it, or we can just ignore it. What to do about it? Ignore it. And we don't discuss what to do about what he did today. We discuss what he did, what to do about what he did the first time he did some shit like that. Right? We don't discuss what he's doing today. We discuss what he did 8 years ago. We don't get the gerbil brain thing where we can't remember 5 seconds ago, and we move on to something new. Right? Pretty interesting stuff. And then, do I really have to explain this to anyone? I can't help but, if I have to explain it, I'm putting this out there in case there's other people like this. But if I have to explain this shit to you and you're like over the age of 12, 18, we can create a group someone else can control for people like that maybe. But the thing is then the gerbil is born. It develops rather fast. Within a couple years, it becomes everything it is. And then you can only learn you can only learn from there. And if you can't figure it out, it's a huge loss. It's like this bitch sitting in my life. Like this gerbil brain who I was like, yeah, she's like 18, 20s, 24, something like that. And I'm like, yeah, get the fuck up off the ground. These people are here to kill us. We gotta get the fuck out of here. And they're like, hee hee, tee hee hee hee. So you can't have something like that around you. It's very detrimental. It's just that's what's happening here. People are going tee hee tee hee 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 about Donald Trump's fucking enslaving and raping the planet, and his cults are out here raping children for centuries and shit, and telling me what the fuck to do and how to do it. And they got the fucking low IQ gerbil brain shit going on. They can't even tell themselves what the fuck to do, but they need money and they need control. So they're not going to be able to control themselves because they got the gerbil brain. So they're looking to control other people in order to fucking do it. Tee-hee, tee-hee-hee-hee-hee. That's often the sign of a person who is decided in life not to cultivate themselves, but to cultivate others for their own purpose and shit. So, yeah, I don't know. It fucking seems simple enough to me. I learned this shit, like 2 years into learning politics, that the greatest weapon is they're moving on and not discussing what they did yesterday. And that's the whole reason most people get out of politics. Is because you're a Democrat 4 years, you're a Republican, you're like, oh, they're trash. And then you're a Republican because you're like, they're correct because they're saying they're trash. And then you realize you either give in, give up, or give up because you realize it's the same trash. So at that point in time, say 8 years, you get through 2 cycles if you haven't paid attention to the history of how every 4-year cycle is the same. And you either are going to be able to figure shit out or you're not going to be able to. And it's very detrimental because as soon as we get these gerbil brains talking about flying reindeers within our ranks, that's when it all falls apart. When I'm building a computer and I'm building a skyrise building, I don't bring in experts on flying reindeer and shit. I don't bring experts on hallucinating off LSD and ibogaine. I don't bring Joe Rogan in to drool all over the building because his drool's gonna strengthen the cement of the building. Okay, that's not the way that shit works. Fuck, not the way anything works. Fucking. Except for gerbil brain shit. Fucking. That's the way McDonald's works. That's why those people just get sent off to McDonald's and no one eats McDonald's. That's why McDonald's trash, because it's trash. Because they don't care about the food they make. It hires people who don't care about the food they fucking make and shit. Their equal opportunity employer doesn't even fucking test their employees. No fucking test required to get in there. But you ain't gonna go work a 5-star fucking restaurant if you're not a certified chef and have fucking background and shit. You know what I'm saying? They're not just gonna bring anyone. And of course, this group, I repeat patterns where white people with black hair need to always be part of this group. White people associated with these people always need to be in my ally group. And it's like, wow, I think the first thing we can do to roll them out is an IQ test and the T-HEAT test and shit. See how they respond when we talk about that. But yeah, we're going places with our group, right? We're 50 years old and we're still asking questions from when we was 8 years old and shit. And we're still watching how we're the only people who should be asking questions, and they never even earned the right to fucking speak, yet alone be fucking demanding fucking answers about invisible bunnies and fucking flying bird gods and shit. Yeah, we'll see where this goes. Obviously, it's going nowhere. The planet's still here. It's not flooded. There hasn't been giant lightning storms that just struck the fucking earth and destroyed the land everywhere, and there hasn't been a nuclear war. This is our only chance of breaking free from these people, is a huge fucking extinction level event. And then people smart enough to fucking survive, some of them will be people who can fucking understand these protocols, but the rest, there's so many working for them. There's thousands of years, all 4 corners of the globe. The most populated area is the northwest corner of the globe. I haven't been to the southwest, I haven't been to the northeast or the southeast, but I'm pretty sure Australia looks a hell of a lot like them. It definitely is ran by them, but wow, way up to the northwest, it's like all of them. It looks like the same family went up there, and it looked like Jeffrey Epstein went up there and had a million fucking kids and shit. Fucking all the way from the Middle East, live from America, it's the Pacific Northwest. Ooh, it's starring Jeffrey Epstein and Jeffrey Epstein's son and Jeffrey Epstein's other son. Guest starring Jeffrey Epstein's daughter and Jeffrey Epstein's other daughter and Jeffrey Epstein's cousin and Jeffrey Epstein's brother. This month's special celebrity guest, Jeffrey Epstein's grandchildren, all 92,000 of them. Yeah, Yeah, I'm sure we're going places here. We got basic toddler level questions that can't be asked from 1980. We got the wars. We're still asking we're asking what they were doing in 1980, and they're like, no, we just started invading them last week. Yeah, I don't know what you mean about 1980. We just, Trump's the only evil person on the earth. He's Satan. Everyone's Satan. I don't like. Let's make a little children book for the pedophiles to get their hands on more kids. Everyone I don't like is Satan. Everyone who won't let me rape their children is Satan. Everyone won't let me bomb their nation is Satan. Fucking. That's crazy. We're sitting here. I'm a grown man, 46, and I'm talking about giant bunnies because that's what these other characters who look like they're 50 but just don't seem like it are talking about. Talking about giant bunnies and shit. And using that as cover to go bomb other people as if everyone else is dumb as them. You see, that's the kicker, is these people, they think you're stupid, and that's why they talk to you this way, because they think that you aren't going to do shit about it because they got their little cult fucking of terror murderers who have been going around killing everyone on the planet who refuses to do everything they say. And that's how the world was enslaved by them, and then they bring the corporations, which are selling more useless trash they make up every day. So there we go. There's something to focus on. We brought that up 10 years ago. You see how that is? 10 years ago. How many things have been discussed since then? We still haven't solved the problem from 10 years ago about the corporations being allowed to rob and scam people. Why hasn't NBC, CBS, ABC given all of their families' wealth that they've stolen back to the people they're stealing it from? Why haven't the corporations out here who have been robbing people given all of their families' wealth back to the people they're stealing from? Something gives me the idea that it's because I kind of get the idea it's because they're gay men and they want a man to fucking slap them around and take it from them. But it could just be because they're not going to give it back unless you take it from them.